Obviously a wild game, not the way that we wanted it to turn out, but an opportunity for us to learn a lot about playing conference basketball, especially against the preseason #1 pick, and how you got to be on top of your game and you got to be on guard at all times. And it's not just the first 5 guys that go in; it's everybody that steps onto the floor. And credit them for the run they made at the end of the first half. And we just kind of lost our minds there for a stretch, and that changed the game dramatically, and I think eventually cost us the game.
Andy, I saw you guys had, I think it was 4 turnovers in the final 3 minutes of that first half. How much of it was them, but also self-inflicted?
It was all self-inflicted. I would have much rather drop kick the ball into the bleachers so we could have gone back and set our defense. Every one of those turnovers was for uncontested layup, and 3 of them were trying to dribble through 3 people. There's nobody on our roster that can dribble through 3 people. There's not a lot of guys on our roster that can dribble with 2 people on them, let alone 3. And we try to do it on back-to-back possessions. We lost our mind. And that's what happens when you play good teams. It's what happens when you are playing games in February and March that mean a whole lot. Those type moments cost you your season, cost you your opportunity, and it certainly cost us dearly tonight.
Andy, what happened at the end of the first half?
I have no idea. In terms of the play, or,
in terms of,
when the buzzer went
skirmish
off.
And, everything.
Yeah, we lost our minds is what happened. Everybody lost their minds. So Dante Treacy turns it over, then Josh Tykes tries to go, he turns it over.
No, I'm talking about the incident.
Oh, so the incident. I didn't see it. I was trying to get everybody to the locker room. Apparently, I don't know, on the shot by Maddie, Giannis felt he got pushed in the back. I think there were some slaps exchanged or something, or pushes exchanged. I haven't seen it yet. And then everybody turns into the toughest guy in the world. So it's better. I'd rather the toughness be in the rebounding and the free throw shooting and poise with the ball. Now everybody wants to hoot and holler and jump up and down and yell and scream, and it doesn't help us at all because one of our better players is sitting in the locker room.
Maddie said that he thought that killed you losing him, Mendy.
I think there were a lot of things that killed us. Obviously it hurt not having him. He had 8 points in the first half. He was playing a really nice game. He was active. Him and Malik have been a great duo together. I didn't think Malik was at his best today. And so to be able to have Mendy in the game, we usually have a pretty decent rotation with those guys. And so to be able to have him, I think, is certainly a benefit. And we got a little bit out of whack in our rotation there. And it definitely, it didn't kill us, but I think it certainly didn't help us with our ability to win the game.
Andy, how do you go about teaching? You mentioned the lessons from today. How do you go about trying to present that to the guys?
We'll present it through film. Obviously we talked about it a lot, and talked about, again, we were in this situation last year, right, Jeff? We talked about this. We were 7-2, and we stopped doing the things that got us to be 7-2, and I felt like Monday and Tuesday this week our practices weren't as crisp as they could have been. Everybody kind of had it figured out. Everybody kind of had an answer, and so that's kind of the start of the lesson. Of as soon as you think that you've got it figured out is usually your first step in the wrong direction. And I think a lot of guys got humbled a little bit tonight, right? I had a exchange with Josh Williams in practice on Tuesday because he was getting fouled. Well, he drew 2 fouls tonight and had 5 turnovers. So maybe he wasn't getting fouled as much as he thought, and maybe his detail and his poise and his ball security and ball toughness needed to be heightened, right? And so those are the things that we'll talk about. Those are the things that we'll discuss, and then we'll show examples of it on film. And I told all of them in there, if you have a pit in the bottom of your stomach like you should if you're a competitor, and that doesn't drive you, not just tomorrow and Saturday, but Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, and as you go into the next game, and if you don't learn that if you're a guy who plays a limited number of minutes and you come flying off the bench in the first half and you give up a wide open uncontested 3 because you're not ready to go, that could be the difference in the game, right? We lose by 3. And so everybody's got to be ready. Everybody's got to be engaged. Everybody's got to know the plan. got to be able to execute the plan, and then you've got to be able to play harder and with more intensity than you even know. And like I said to guys, if you can't do it in that environment against a team like that, then you don't know how to do it well enough yet. If you can't get the ball down the court against Jamal King, who's first team All NEC as a junior and has tortured us for 3 years, then you need to go harder. You need to do more, right? If you can't run an offensive set or execute a defensive set against those guys in that environment, then we don't know how to do it well enough yet, and we can't stop working until we know how to do it at that level.
Did you feel like the offensive possessions at the end of the game, was it a composure thing? Because you're saying like lost our minds. Did you feel like it was?
Well, we lost our minds at the end of the first half. I don't think we lost our minds offensively down the stretch. I think we got the ball to some places that we wanted to, but like everything, the difference is in the detail, right? And so even on that last play, and Matty played an unbelievable game. We're not even in the game if he doesn't play the way that he played. I can't tell you the number of times over 4 years that when Matty drives left, I yelled him to jump stop. Right, and this is no slight to Matty, because he was amazing tonight. One of his best all-around games that he's had at Robert Morris. But it's an example of absorbing that detail and being able to do it when it matters most, right? And that's, if you're going to try to compete for a championship, that's what you have to be able to do. Because in that time, they're probably not bailing you out with a foul, and you've got to be able to say, okay, this guy beat me to the spot. He did a good job, and I got to be able to jump stop, and I got to be able to get make the next decision and be ready and able to do that. And we weren't able to do that tonight.
Matty said he'd rather have a win than surpass 1,000 points tonight, but just as a coach, I mean, like you just said, he played a great game tonight. What does it mean to you that you have someone, who surpassed 1,000?
Yeah, I mean, he was terrific tonight, and I'm happy that he was able to get 1,000 points. And he's he's an incredible competitor, and so all that, some of that stuff, the 1,000 points and all that stuff is for when you're old and you have kids and you can talk about it. I think right now when you're in the heat of the season and you're trying to compete like he's trying to compete, that stuff becomes secondary. When it's all said and done and you sit down and you reflect, it's nice to have those accolades, but he wants to win. I know that, and like I said, I thought he was terrific tonight and seemed to be everywhere all night. And if we could get that guy for the next 9 games, we would be pretty tough out.